Good evening and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators. I am LaWanna Bradford, Chief Operating Officer of the Bradford Group, as well as Principal of the Bradford Group Consulting. And I am so excited to be here with you this evening for this topic here. Business opportunities can manifest in uncommon circumstances. Now, this discussion is particularly for that small business owner, that woman entrepreneur, because we are still in Women's History Month. And it's really about being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your business environment, your particular industry lane, shifts that may be happening, things that are at play, that if you choose the opportunity correctly, it could end up being profitable for you. It could open up other doors or avenues for you. So one of the things that I want to focus on is what everyone has been talking about since the Oscars, the slap that was heard around the world. Now, we're not going to get into that detail because we all know what happened, but from a business lens, let's talk about strategically positioning, because there's times when we are in business that we may make not the best decisions, right? We may get into a situation where we have confrontation with stakeholders, even clients. And the question is for you, how do you handle those situations? So when you're dealing with an angry client or a hostile client, it's very easy because it's out of human nature for us to want to retaliate. But that's why the big organizations and small have a customer resolution center, an avenue where people can go to get their problems resolved. But in the case that we saw yesterday, and again, I'm making a play with what happened at the Oscars. I'm translating this to a business situation. So rather than handling it, taking a high road, there was an aggression that occurred. Now, strategically, that move could have been, not could have, it was very risky for a number of reasons. And on the other side, the person who there was assault on both sides, I guess you could say, but the other person took a different stance. So we have to be careful when we're thinking about where we stand in business and in life. Consider our reputation, because our reputation precedes us. Consider how our actions may impact someone else. Consider how our actions may place our current path, our business lane, at risk. Sometimes when you cross a lane, it's very hard to repair that. You can do irreparable damage to yourself in your business. And so one of the things I always challenge the business owners to do is do your best to always walk in integrity. Live your values, whatever those are, so that they're very clear, they're demonstrative, that if you have employees, they know what you value. They know how you want to be represented in business and outside of business. So let's talk about outside of business. And we have Barbara here right now coming on in. Welcome, Barbara.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. So Barbara, and I think you came in at the right time, because I'm going to toss it over to you. When we think about our reputation in business, right? Whether we're in corporate America, whether we are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners, it takes a lot to build that reputation, right? But it seems like just overnight, it can crumble. You want to talk a little bit about that, just from the lane and what you've seen in your business, because I know you work with international clients, both within your own business and as you travel the corporate lane as well.
Yeah. So I always look at it like this. If you're in wherever you're working, if it's like you said, if it's in your business or in a corporate type of area, you have a certain standard automatically that you have to uphold. So with that, you have to hold, if it's in a corporate atmosphere, then there's corporate values, there's corporate missions, there's a lot of things that you have to undertake that when you sign up to be in that position of that. If you have your own business, you have your own structure of mission and values that you rely on for your own company. And when one thing happens outside of that that's not a privy to what you do, or if people see you in a certain light, that can take you out real quickly. I hate to say it like that, but it can. It takes a lot to build up that trust once you put something out there, you say something that is going to tarnish a little bit of what you've been moving towards. And I had that happen to me on a business sense where it took, and it's still in certain areas with certain people, it's taken a lot of time to build that trust and to question twice about, well, I remember when you did this. I'm just having some issues here with that. So, that's why it's so important that when you make that decision, you got to see what the consequences are going to be afterwards, because there's going to be some consequences once you do what you do, if you do something that's not in the right frame.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing that can be so frustrating, right? When you have this whole body of work that you've done, right? And then you make a wrong decision. Or maybe your deliverable wasn't as expected. It wasn't the level of quality. Or maybe it was late. And all of a sudden people forget. They have very short memories. It's like you have decades of
Yeah.
great work, and all of a sudden it's like bingo.
Yeah.
And so going back to what we witnessed with the Oscars, and it's just again just to make a parallel, huge body of work, right?
Yeah.
Amazing resume,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have this, and that's all people are talking about. And it's hard to shake that. As you move forward, people don't, unfortunately, they don't forget the bad, but they're quick to forget all the good that you did, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, yeah, but you can have a list of, like, just a laundry list of all the stuff you've done. You helped out, make new products, or you've been in all these nonprofit organizations that you helped, and you just been out there just working hard and everything. And then one thing that's totally off of what all that is, and then that's shined on right there. And it's funny because some people even say, well, they did this, but they did that. But remember, they did this in a nonprofit organization. They was doing all over here. They still did this. So it's like it just keeps going on to that one spot.
No, I agree. And I have a situation that happened. Actually, it happened a year ago. And sometimes we can do things in good faith, right? We have the perfect intention,
Mhm.
but it's perceived differently. Okay, so we're going off the Oscars, but we're talking about intention. So, well, actually, it could still be on the Oscars. The intention was not to offend, right? But an offense happened. So, my situation, I was going to speak on a particular stage. I had gotten very ill, and wasn't able to. And I called and said, "Is it okay if I provide?" Because I have the exact same presentation that I'm going to do, but I did it on another stage. Is it okay if I provide that? And I know things were really hectic and busy for that person because they're getting close to this was a couple days before the event. And they said yes, so I sent it in. And I thought that if it had not been acceptable, that I would have received a call saying, whoa, no, this is a no-go. So my intention was to still answer the mail, still be there, though I couldn't physically be there or be there in a live setting, be there and deliver what I promised when I was at my peak to give the audience what they expected. Well, here's an example, Barbara. So even though it was a great presentation, the thing that was focused on wasn't the presentation. It was that it was a clip from another event. And how dare I? And I was accused of insulting them, of embarrassing them. And I thought, but I asked, number one, was it okay? I sent it in advance so you had time to look at it. And if it wasn't, you could have scratched me, right? Said, no, she's not going to be a part of this. So that's an example where we can show up in our place of excellence with the right mind, with the right heart, but the person doesn't receive it that way, right? So let's go back. I'm gonna bounce back to the Oscars for a minute. You have a comedian that's telling a joke, whether it was on script, off script, it doesn't matter. It was telling a joke. Whether he knew about the situation with the wife or not, who knows? That's all speculative. But the point was, he was there to entertain, and his intent wasn't to be malicious. But that wasn't how it was taken, right? And then we see how things like that escalated. So let's go back to me again, Barbara. And you and I talked about that situation with me was so detrimental that it shattered the relationship. I didn't even have the opportunity, even though I'm sorry you misunderstood. That wasn't my intent. I write this letter. I was called everything but a child of God. And I remember talking to you about it, thinking, wow, I'm not even given an opportunity to, rightfully apologize, though I had attempted to, in writing, but let's talk this out. I'm willing to come to the table. And if I need to apologize to your audience, if you felt embarrassed by it, I'm willing to step up to the plate. But I wasn't given that opportunity. How many times in business or in life, Barbara, do we come with the right intention, with the right heart, but it's received in the wrong way and it's rejected to the point that you can't even cross a bridge. You're waving that olive branch and the person's like, I don't see you, don't want to see you. Your history to me. One time, Barbara.
Yeah, it's it's funny you mentioned all that, your story and then how it happened, because I know we talked about that. And I was just thinking to myself, is there any type of small mercy shown anywhere? I mean, where's the level of that? I mean, sometimes I ask myself that question. It's just, like you said, you had the right intentions, you showed up, you wanted to make sure that you were there because what was asked, of you, you couldn't make it because of certain situations, but you still showed up and still moved that mark. And then they've looked at it in another sense, like, no, I can't believe you did this, like almost off with your head, like, okay, that's it. There's no more of you. We're not going to talk to you about it. But then I'm like, where's the small mercy? Where's the communication where we can talk about this? And it is just gone. And I'm seeing that a lot. There's like no type of conversation about it. This is what it is. I'm done. Basically, that's how it goes.
Exactly. And so back to this title, business opportunities can manifest in uncommon circumstances. Because of that situation that I shared, where it was off with your head, it was an opportunity for me to say, oh, okay, now let me reassess how I enter into agreements from now on when I choose to go and speak on someone's stage. Yeah. Let me make sure I'm very clear what can or cannot be done, whether they have it in writing or not. Now I know, because I was just burned very badly, what questions to ask to protect me, to protect my reputation. so that I come, if I feel that, yes, this is the right place for me to be, I come in excellence, delivering that win-win for both of us. So for me, that was an opportunity. It was ugly. I didn't like that I went through that. And as I said, just the accusations were ugly, very ugly. And I thought, wow, you don't know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
You're making all these assumptions. And let's go back to assumptions. So with, this whole buzz, and I know I was in, a few clubhouses and seeing things on different social media sites. Everybody who wasn't in the room, everybody who's not in these individuals' households, everyone who's not in their heads are making all these messed up assumptions. We
Yeah.
don't know. We don't know the trigger, truly the catalyst,
Mm-hmm.
because according to his mother, he's never acted that way. So if you've never behaved that way, you don't just overnight go from boom to boom.
Oh, no.
There's something happening. But that's
And
neither here nor there. The point is, do we show grace in both cases
yeah.
and allow, the two, whether it's friendship, whether it's a business relationship, their colleagues, to work it out so that it can be resolved? Because I believe everything can be resolved if we
If you
allow it, if we choose to go that way, right?
yeah.
So that's another opportunity. You could actually heighten the relationship now.
Yeah. And I love how you mentioned the fact about, that opportunity we're talking about manifested uncommon situations. So you have to be open, because I mean, at the beginning, it doesn't feel good. You're not a happy camper, as I tell people, when it first hits, just like what going back to what your story was with the situation. And your first thing you're thinking is, really? Like, wait a minute, but then you have to take the time when you cool, the emotions cool down, and say, okay, what opportunity that I can do with this? It might not be with that same person, because that might be done. They decided, okay, I'm walking away from our relationship, be it business or whatever. But then what can you do? Your growth, your potential, what you need to do, say, okay, this situation happened. Let me look at the whole picture here and see what I learned from this, or what I need to do next time. And I love how, if people take it in that angle, especially when it's going to be totally broken, when the relationship will be broken and you can't do nothing about it, you can still do something about what you're doing within your business and what you do.
And that right there was a powerful nugget that you just put on the table. Is that's what we control. Is we control us. We control our mind. We control how we choose to respond or choose to react.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's saying, I'm just going to be. I'm not, and I'll go back to taking a biblical lesson from Christ when he was standing before Pilate and he was being accused, and he stood silent. He was being unrighteously accused, and he stood silent. And sometimes that's the high road.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to say, I know I'm not going to change this person's mind, because they are hell bent to believe this about me, or this about my business, or this about my character, even though there's this, decades and decades of proof that that's not me. Mm-hmm. But you're now going to judge me that way, right? So we're talking. We're both sides of the fence when we're bouncing back and forth when we're talking about subtly about the Oscars and what happened. So it's like both sides. We have to have some grace. We have to have some mercy. We have to understand and find the opportunity. Find the opportunity, whether it's the opportunity for us to grow, the opportunity to repair the breach, right?
Yeah.
But there is opportunity.
Yeah.
If we look for it, there's always opportunity.
And I want to just take another point real quickly about signs, looking at the signs. Now, you just mentioned, and I know, we've been hearing and everything about, the Will Smith thing, and his, even his own mother said he never really acted that way. So now I'm looking at, okay, and this is going back to people, with that mental health thing. I don't try to get into that. I know this is not about that, but I'm just talking about the signs of people. If you know that you've been knowing a person and then all of a sudden, boom, a whole different reaction happens, that needs to kind of pinpoint you to say, well, LaWanna, we've been talking, we've been business partners all this time, and all of a sudden she just cussed me out like that. I mean, it's just an example. I mean, this out the blue and looking like she's just seeing red and it's towards me. And the first thing I'm gonna say is, okay, because I always do is like, okay, what did I do? What just happened here? You know, but it got to kind of tell you too that this person's not like this all the time. Even when they get upset, they don't get to that point. So now I'm saying that, okay, we need to look at some signs. And I'm not trying to give excuses here. I'm just saying, look at those signs, because we've been seeing a lot of things happen in the last year where people are looking one way, and then next thing you know, what? They're gone. You know, they have to go and take care of themselves, like, you know, mental wise and stuff. So I think we have to look at that too, and say what's kind of really going on, like they say.
And I love that you brought up the point about mental health, because um, mental health and the concern about mental health is actually the second pandemic. It's that second wave that's coming. You think about, we've been in this pandemic now for over 2 years, and all the pressure and the grief and the stress that people have felt from loss of income to being sandwiched, taking care of senior parents and children, losing their financial means, losing their homes, just the stress. The world is stressed, and we don't know what people are going through. We just have no clue. So we can come and we can smile, right? Think about Robin Williams, the most wonderful comedian, and he committed suicide. It's like, huh? How did that happen? So we're really good at masking what we're going through, because we think that that's the world doesn't want to hear our stuff. But that's what I love about, like, you and Barry Mixon. You talk a lot about people being able to tell their story, because in telling that story, there's healing. There's really healing in that, and then we can reach out through those stories and help others bridge that gap. So again, by sharing our story, that again, that's another opportunity. It's another opportunity that we can find. I want to go also talk about. I'm going to just show this one commercial, and then we'll go into this other part here, about the trigger of the Oscars, and get into what that means in the lane of women. It's Women's History Month, so we want to dovetail into that, but then talk about the business opportunities that pop out of that as well. Here we go. So let's talk about the issue, right? The issue was defending someone who has a condition, defending someone who may be attacked for, and I'm making this broad, any sort of disability, anything that makes you appear different than the masses. And in this case, she was being defended. Now let's talk about the real facts here, ladies. 50% of women in the US suffer from hair loss. 50%. It's a lot of women.
Yeah.
30 million suffer from female pattern baldness. It's a lot of people. And you think about how many are hiding this, how many are suffering in silence. right? They don't want to tell anyone. But if you have 50%, that means 1 out of 2 women are going through their own personal struggle with hair thinning, hair loss. That could be from stress, environmental factors, medication, disease, postpartum, hormonal imbalance. The list goes on and on about things that can cause us to lose our hair. Our skin is our largest organ. So when it starts doing something wonky, that's telling us inside something's not right. Something's off. And I know with my situation, and I'm trying to find this photo, and I'm going there because I felt her pain is and I'll let you talk a little bit while I look for these photos. But for those of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with lymphoma, which is a form of blood cancer, 6 years ago, and still am in the fight for it. And October of 2020, my hair started like thinning rapidly, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, on one of our shows, and Barbara was there with me, and we had someone there who was on, and I knew it was thinning, but I didn't know how badly it had thinned, where it was so visible. And I remember laughing, and I bent my head down, and the person said, this is another woman. Think about it. Another woman just blurts out, we're on TV or on Facebook. It was a Facebook Live. Oh my God, LaWanna, you need to lift up your head. You've got a big bald spot. I'm like, okay, thank you. I didn't know that it was that bad, but now I do. And that was kind of hard, but the person didn't apologize. He just blurted it out. And it's like, but whether she knew or didn't know what I was going through is irrelevant. But I just thought, wow, you just
called it out there. Thank you so much for doing that. And
so Barbara, I'll let you. What did you think? Because you were actually there when it happened.
Well, that just showed me. So that was really not right good at all to call that out. And it was a shock. But see, that tells you again that the way how we react, and we have to think about others. And I know some things are very shocking at times, but you still have to think, okay, what's that's going to do to that other person? Especially if you care, you have a certain, relationship with that person. So,
right.
Yeah.
And in my case, it's like, it wasn't like in, what we saw with the Oscars where they're actors, right? So you don't know, is she preparing for a role? Is it just a stylistic thing? You don't know.
You don't know.
So, but in my case, that that wasn't a stylistic thing. Like my brother said, he goes, LaWanna, my God, you look like Benjamin Franklin. And my brother knows me. I laugh at myself all the time. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be Benjamin Franklin. But I just want to show you. And then I told another friend who was a woman, and she was laughing at me. I don't know if you can see as it's getting thin there. And she goes, oh, LaWanna, I see you're doing a comb over.
Oh, like with the hair.
So I'll show you how bad it got. So it was progressively. So I was taking pictures of my hair loss journey, and this is all within like a 2-month period. So I went from that to, you see the parts getting a little wider.
Yeah.
A little bit wider.
Yeah, and that's top.
This is my head, people.
Yeah.
To now this big, beautiful, shiny spot on the top of my head. Mm-hmm. And that spot was about this big.
This big, yeah.
It was literally the crown of my head. And I thought, wow, God, I've got cancer. It's attacking my skin. the drugs that I'm on are causing me to gain all this crazy weight. And now I'm going to lose my hair like this. I was just like, oh my gosh. And so now let's talk about opportunity. So I remember talking to my dermatologist, and they told me, Barbara,
that
I'm sorry, but you have the type of alopecia, it's permanent. Your hair is not going to grow back. And I said, really? I've got really? Really? And I said, okay, that's what they said. They're saying, okay. And I said, well, I'm going to do my research. And so I started reading, and I remember calling this other physician who was a dermatologist who had originally diagnosed me with the lymphoma. And she told me to use rosemary oil and peppermint oil. And that commercial that I just showed, Tamara Miller has this little concoction that she sold me, a mixture of different essential oils. And she told me to do it, put it on my hair, my scalp. There was no hair, my scalp, twice a day. And I did. And I did the rosemary oil and the peppermint oil. I was dedicated. And then it started growing back. And it started getting a little thicker and a little thicker and a little thicker. And I said, and my hair is white from the cancer, but I'm like, I'm not going to color because I don't know what my body's going to do. I don't want to put chemicals as I'm trying to heal this mess that's going on. And it worked. And I'm not saying my solution for my alopecia would work for everyone else. But I'm saying I took the opportunity and was consistent in doing what I needed to do. Barbara.
Yes, and well, I know I've seen the story from the beginning to when you know the whole thing that happened to now, where you have this beautiful head of hair from being, and you just said the magic word too, being consistent and going outside the box of just believing the doctor. So I mean, that's another thing. I mean, when you're determination and being consistent works in your favor. So LaWanna was like, you know what? I'm determined to see, okay, there has to be another way. I'm not going to believe, I'm not just saying this is it for me. And then secondly, she reached out, she took the items that they told her to do, and she was consistent. She's like, I'm going to do this every day. Every day. I'm not going to miss a day. I don't care how I feel. I don't care how late it is at night. I don't care how much work I'm doing right now. I'm going to make sure I put this stuff on my hair so I can see a difference. And with all that, this is what happened. And she made in a sense, you made this opportunity of an uncommon circumstances, like we're saying, into a good opportunity for you to say, here we go. I got
yeah, because of that. So the person who sold me, the oil, with the Deity Body Care, I'm like a testimonial. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe it. It's growing back. Now the opportunity, whether this person did or not, I don't know, but the business opportunity, if I had a client that that had become transformed, whether it was from coaching, consulting, some product that I was provided them, they were just delighted over the moon. You better believe I'm going to take that opportunity, use that testimonial to open up the gateway so that other people are like, oh, wow, really? Now think about it right now. Right now, the world, because it was a slap heard around the world is buzzing about women's hair loss. Now I'm talking to those women who are in any kind of hair care industry, whether it's the products, whether you're a stylist, whether you're a dermatologist, whether you're a trichologist, anyone that's in the hair care industry, it's your time. It's your time.
Yeah, that's that business.
Now, some are going to heed that call because I've seen a couple doctors popping on lately and having these long conversations. Also, those that are in the emotional in mental health arena.
Mhm.
You think about how, our hair as women, we're told it's your crown of glory. We're all told as little girls, it's all about the hair, all about the hair. All
Mhm.
cultures. Now you don't have it, or you're losing it, or it's thinning.
Mhm.
What does that do to your self-esteem?
Mhm.
So now those that are in the mental wellness profession, it's your time to help individuals deal with this image disorder that's there. And I'm not saying everyone needs to run around and shave their head. If you can do that, rock it. And if you can't, it's okay. But you've got to, at the end of the day, you have to love yourself.
Mhm.
Hair, no hair. You've got to love yourself. And some people say, well, it's just hair. Well, hair defines us
Mhm.
because that's how we were taught. It's,
Mhm.
it defines us. I have people now asking, oh my gosh, aren't you going to color your hair? I'm like, why are you all in my Kool-Aid? Why do you care if I color it or not? And then I wonder, is it your insecurity that you're bringing this way? Because
Mm.
you couldn't, at my age, rock a total white head. And it's amazing because when I spoke to my niece and nephew who were 16, I was saying, well, I don't know, maybe Auntie Juana's going to color her hair now. And they both were like, no, let it go. You're going to be like Storm. And I thought, look at the difference. The kids are seeing Storm. Women, my peers are like, oh my gosh, don't you feel old?
Mhm.
No, actually, I don't. My hair is healthier than it's ever been.
Yeah. Okay.
So no. Barbara, what do you have to say?
Well, I mean,
Hey, Tarache, welcome.
well, yeah, the poster child for the business. Yeah. So, this is again how, taking these opportunities through a crisis of what's going on and saying to yourself, okay, how can I take this, what's going on here, even in the whole world right now? Like, we know that's like the main thing, what happened to Oscars, and take that, like LaWanna said, and take that on and say, maybe I can work this thing out and it can work in my own business, and I can show up and be an example, or show that, there is some things that really wasn't spotlighted before, but now that the spotlight is there, let's take advantage of this, not in a bad way, but let's take advantage of the spotlight to show people about what's really certain areas.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll use like right now. So we have rising interest rates. The economy is doing all of this. People are wondering, whoa, what's going on? We had interest rates in the twos, and now they're in the mid to high fours. Well, okay, that's an uncommon circumstance, right? We have a war going on in another nation that's now impacting what's happening here. Uncommon circumstance. But the business opportunity, guess what? I'm in mortgages. So I would be foolish to not take this uncommon circumstance and start showcasing my expertise. Why? Because I know what it's like to go through 2007, 2008 and still survive as a mortgage company. I know what it's like to go through the pandemic and still survive as a mortgage company. Now, rates are going crazy. I can help guide and educate the consumer on, is it the right time to buy? It's always the right time to buy if you have the means and the resources, and you want to live your dream.
Mhm.
Having those conversations, being able to work with women who are trying to expand their financial portfolio by understanding how to invest in what appears to be a crazy market, but rates are still lower than what average rates have been over the last 30 years. So it's creating a more educated consumer. So again, this uncommon circumstance for me is an opportunity to, again, elevate our business, create further awareness, and create that attraction marketing for more clients. Barbara.
I always like when you say success leaves clues. Is that the right way? I want to make sure I
Yes,
said it
yes.
right. Success leaves clues. And I want to add to that. I always put a little spin. Success leaves clues, but your story leads to that success for those clues. So like LaWanna's story, what she just said, that was a success. Even though at the beginning she didn't feel like the success. Way at the beginning, she's like, okay, what am I gonna do? And she said again, she made that decision. That's why it's so important. What were you gonna right or you gonna left? See, that's the whole thing. That starts the process of leading you and guiding you down that road so you can be successful. And those are clues that other people see and say, well, wait a minute. I like that. I like what the one. Okay, I can do something like that too in my business, or I can do something like that in my personal life. So I'm just going to say that just a little caveat to that story as that success for clues that you can see within what you're trying to do.
Exactly. Now let's go back to the hair things. So let's talk specifically about individuals that are in the hair care industry. Now, if you may be a stylist, right? That's one level. But if you are an individual who's a stylist, you cut and style and color hair like nobody's business. But then you have another person who can do that. Plus, they are a hair care expert. They understand the hormonal impacts on the hair. They've worked with individuals who are cancer patients and what they may be doing. Gray hair, believe it or not, is a very different hair. You have to care for it very different than pigmented hair. Now the term is unpigmented hair. So it's different because no matter what your ethnic background is, it's a drier hair. So how do you care for that versus hair that was colored or just in its natural state? So you want to, again, those of you who have those different levels of expertise, start spinning it. This is the time. Again, the world is buzzing. The world is buzzing. Again, I'm going to say it again. The world is buzzing about women's hair care and women's hair. The world. This is the time. If you're in any type of hair care, hairstyling, trichologist, dermatologist, dealing with the emotional stress and baggage that women go through as far as their image, if you're in that arena, it's a platform. It's a platform to start building. It's a platform to start messaging in a different way, to start leveraging, to have community circles, to talk, to bring women together who are struggling, helping them to overcome, helping them to find their way to still feel beautiful, to still value who they are with or without hair, whether it's bought or it's their own, whether it's gray or color, whatever it may be, it's your time. I feel like I'm in, what is it? What's the Black Panther? It's your time.
Well, well, you're giving some golden nuggets. I hope they're listening to all that industry of beauty care, care to say, yeah, there is time. And I was just thinking to add to that too, even with schools like beauty schools and schools in general to talk about your health and how that all reacts and what to do if you have a client, because you need to know the health part of it. You need to understand all that. So like LaWanna said, you don't want to care for somebody and you're like, oh, I didn't know that you had this condition. So, and you did something different. So this is going to help the schools out to bring people in and say, okay, you need to get more expertise on this level.
Right. So you have your cosmetology, right? And which is the art of hair care. Again, the styling, the coloring, the cutting. And then you have trichology, which is the science, the study of the hair, how the hair grows, the follicles, the growth cycle. I mean, just everything about the hair. Imagine a person who has both disciplines. Art meets science, you're golden. You're golden. So those of you, again, don't go to Google University when it comes to the science of the hair. Take the time, invest in some courses, get your certs. So now that you can be a real service, not only styling, but also guiding these individuals to a
Educating
healthier
them.
hair.
Yeah.
And healthy hair starts with first having a healthy scalp, and sometimes inside out, but also know if the inside is battling and struggling, like, mine is this cancer battle, the hair is the last thing the body wants to take care of because the body's trying to live,
Yeah.
right? So all the nutrients and everything's going to feed and keep this body as healthy as it can be. Hair is the last thing that it wants to deal with. So again, when you're able to build the art and the science of hair care, again, I think I was sitting there thinking this morning, Barbara, about the whole situation, and I thought, whoa, are people in the industry realizing
That
this is a golden moment? I don't know how long this door is going to be open, but
they better walk
I
into
guarantee you we're going to start seeing more products on the market. I guarantee you're going to see some commercial ads and other things showing, women rocking all kinds of hair or talk. I mean, we see some of it. I think it's like Keranique or some of the products about thinning hair, and we saw Rogaine and minoxidil and all of those. Well, there's going to be more of that because of this.
Yeah. That just
Businesses, the pharmaceuticals are going to take advantage of this moment. So if they are, why not you?
Yeah.
Right?
For your own business. Yeah. It basically, this has just heightened the level of visibility for that. So take advantage of it and walk through them doors, like LaWanna said, door open wide. So
Yes.
yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time. I have a couple sponsors I want to show. We have our upcoming Celebrate You 2021 Woman of the Year award show. I'm real excited about that, coming April 3rd, which is this Sunday. I can't believe we're already there, Barbara.
Can you believe it?
On E360 TV from 4:30 is a red carpet experience, and the show goes from 5 to 7 p.m. So this is one of our sponsors, Conversations Media Group with Cyrus Webb.
Good Friday, everyone. Your real worth isn't defined by your net worth. What makes you valuable is how you use what you have been given. All of us have gifts. Make sure you're making the most of yours. Have an amazing Friday.
It is now the bottom of the hour. I'm excited to welcome Nancy Matthews to our program today. Nancy is an author of a book. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for you guys. There it is, The One Philosophy. I want to talk to Nancy not only about the re-release of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share the message with all of you guys. Nancy, great to have you on with us.
Hello, hello, hello. So happy to be here.
I want to now give a special shout out to our premier sponsor, Essence of Being, with founder Burge Smith Lyons.
If you want to make a difference in the world and learn how to be a conscious, courageous leader, join Burge Smith Lyons, CEO and founder of Essence of Being, Inc.
I'm Burge Smith Lyons, and I'm the founder and CEO of Essence of Being and the Healing Forest Foundation.
Global leader, trainer, author, and facilitator of empowerment and leadership.
What we've been building over these last 25 years is a global movement of conscious leaders empowering others to create a win-win world.
Burge and her Essence of Being programs allow the participants to feel more inspired and ready to create the win-win world.
You take action anyway. That's courage. Commit to something even though you doubt it, and take action anyway. Are you ready to take action? First of all, you have to have a desire in order to want to transform. Something maybe not exactly the way you want it in your life, in your business, in your relationship, in your purpose.
She is extraordinary, beyond most of the speakers that you will see.
Burge kind of walks on water because she's always able to get to the heart of everything.
Met Burge and I was just blown away.
But sometimes you have to trust just a little bit in order to cooperate. How many of you have lost trust? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll help you get it back. Maybe they've lost faith in others or themselves. Sometimes you just have to get back to the roots and say, I matter, I'm important, and I make a difference. They can go out and be the best they can be, to be the conscious leaders that they know that they are. If you want to change your life, and if you want to make a difference in this world, and you know that you matter, then come play with us in our box of Essence of Being.
For continued success in business, relationships, and expanding your purpose, contact Burge at burgesmithlyons.com and essenceofbeing.com. Join us at Essence of Being and the Conscious Leadership Academy.
We have one more sponsor that I'm going to show, and then our signature promo video for the event. And this is Audra Agan, who is the host and founder of Women in the Arena podcast. And she is one of our judges for the event. In fact, the head judge, because it takes a village for Barbara and I to pull all of this together. So we're so excited to find out who the judges will end up selecting. Right, Barbara?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I am the founder and host of Women in the Arena podcast. It is my mission to change the world. I'm going to do this by interviewing women from all over the globe and share their stories with each other. I want to build bridges amongst all of us and tear down walls. We do so many amazing things that nobody knows about. So join me in helping to celebrate all of these women doing extraordinary things in plain sight. You can visit our website at womeninthearena.net. You can find all of our episodes there, or you can catch us on any of your favorite podcast platforms. I hope you join us and come and celebrate.
Okay, Barbara, well, it has been a pleasure as always having you here for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. We look forward to seeing all of you next week. And for those of you who are able, join us on Sunday, April 3rd at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on e360tv.com. All you have to do is download the app or go to any device and cast to your TV or on your device and watch this amazing show that we are going to have. And we're fortunate that our musical director and music will be performed by two-time Emmy Award-winning bassist Mr. Tony Saunders and the Tony Saunders Band, and it will be hosted by Gloria Tony Fleets. So any last words, Barbara, before we sign off?
Just want to let everybody know, always know that you are awesome in your own way. And I just want to thank LaWanna for letting me be on her wonderful show today.
Thank you. And to our listening audience, remember, in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. Until next time, good night, everyone.
Bye.